What's going on, everyone? Thanks for joining us for another Uno night. I am back with my two amigos, Jamie, aka UFG Blaze, Channing, aka Simply Simplistic. But this week we also have a special guest, V.Me. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Yeah, so we are just gonna, like usual, we're gonna chill and have a good time, but we're gonna talk about some interesting things tonight. So Jamie, go ahead and start us up, and we'll kick things off. Typically, we start with how our week went. And I guess I'll go first. My week has been pretty good. I've been on vacation, and even though I did a little bit of work here and there, for the most part, I've been catching up on video games, catching up on anime, and just having a good time. Um, Before that, it was a lot of crazy. Well, the world is on fire right now, like obviously. So there's a lot of craziness going on in the streets, if you will, and so just dealing with that type of stuff, as well as doing UFG and writing and all that good stuff, it can get and you need a break. You need a break every now and then. And so we took this week off for vacation, and the kids are having a good time. We're having a good time, and I got to catch up on a lot of anime. Um, I There was actually a sale on Vudu if you have digital access, um, as opposed to physical copies. You can get all of, let's say, Cowboy Bebop for I think it was like $7 or something like that, 4K. Same thing with Samurai 7. I picked that up for $6, I think $6 or something like that. And so I was able to watch those things over this past week, and you know, just been real chill for the most part. Jamie, what about you? What have you been up to?
This week has been basically nothing. This week has been work, home, play games. Did have something go on. I'm not gonna get into too much, but all you gotta know is they recovered. So I'm happy about that. So it's been a good week just because of that.
Well, that's good, definitely,
Yeah.
bro. And V, what about you? What have you been up to?
Well, as you all know, it's still kind of quarantine over here. So I personally don't go out. We work from home over here, so it's just like Blaze was saying, work, play, and then if you want to count YouTube as work, then that could be work too.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you,
Oh
Channing?
my goodness, I just got destroyed.
For the most part, just yeah, you just like self-destructed yourself. Um, just pretty much work, just work. If I'm being completely honest. Um, yeah, I mean, our week hasn't been bad, but it's just more primarily been focused more on like the work aspect of things, and like the little bit of free time I do have, I've been going to like the it's like a bike park that I've been going to, so pretty chill.
You said you were going to a bike park?
Yeah, there's like a Rockstar bike park here in Houston that I've been hitting up as of late.
Oh, that's what's up. How's that been? Because I know Texas, I think Texas and Florida, right? Didn't you guys have like
We have
spikes?
a spike is an understatement. It should be classified as a goddamn desert dystopia. Anyway, like apocalyptic. Yeah, our cases keep going up pretty frequently on a day-to-day basis. The governor just issued a state mandate that now it is now required for everybody to wear a mask, even though
Oh
last
boy.
month, yeah, even though last month everybody was telling him that he kind of should put something in place or take reopening very slowly. But a lot of Texans' mentalities towards it is like, well, it's my body, my choice type stuff. And it's like they're bringing
Oh
Planned
my
Parenthood. They're
god.
bringing like Parenthood into like potentially stopping the spread of coronavirus. Because believe it or not, and I strongly believe this, that a lot of Texans do not believe that corona is a big deal. And I'm like, y'all
Oh
gonna end
boy.
up screwing all of us over because y'all don't want to listen. So I would say July 4th is going to be a very prominent moment for the state of Texas because depending upon how many people are actually out, will definitely determine if it gets better or worse. And honestly, it's going to get worse because they just don't care. It's going to be like Memorial Day weekend, and then they're just going to like there are no protests, so you can't blame it on protesters this time. So what's the excuse going to be? All right, I'm done. I'm done. I'm gonna get off that because Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, so mishandled here in Texas.
Yeah, man. I've been watching watching some stuff. I have family in Texas, as well as you. So
Oh
I've been
yeah,
kind of looking at it, and it's like, dog. Same thing with
it's
Florida.
it's
I have
it's
family in
crazy,
Florida, and
man.
it's like Are y'all even? Are you not even
It's
trying
crazy. It's
anymore?
crazy.
Like, what
It's
is
so
going
crazy.
on?
Yeah, it's wild. I get people out. So I'm in like an apartment complex, and every weekend someone's having some kind of party outside. No masks on
Yeah.
anybody.
They think it's a joke.
Jesus.
It's
What are you
not.
gonna do?
It's not. It's. I'm gonna punch him in the face. That's what I'm gonna do. Like,
Yeah. It's
it's
kind of
ridiculous.
like
It's
real quick. There's like people that will come in and then try to justify like why they personally don't need to wear a mask without even taking to the account. It's like no one's asking you to do it because we want you to do it. It prevents you from getting other people fucking sick. So it's like I don't understand like what is so hard to grasp there.
It's the
I
same
just
deal
don't get
with
it.
how seatbelts were like a couple decades ago. I'm sure people were doing the exact, maybe not to this level, and obviously not with cell phone footage to show when people do it, but it's probably the same deal. You can't have us put seatbelts on. That's crazy.
Exactly.
yeah. It's crazy how like entitled people get, and it's for me. It's like certain people haven't been through anything in their lives when the worst thing you've ever experienced is not being able to get a haircut. Like
Yeah.
it'd be different if they were like, you know what, I need this for a
Oh,
job. Lucky, I need this for a job. I need to get out. But like, if you notice, like we've been able to go shopping, go out to eat. We've been able to, um, even like in over here, we had to drive in because everyone stays in their car. You're social distancing, right? And so we've been able to do certain things and still be safe, and yet you're
Yeah.
still bugging with this, people in Walmart or Whole Foods, like getting
Yeah.
upset
I try
because
to.
they have to wear a mask, and it's like
Mhm.
until you're hooked up to a respirator, like it's
Um, oh, and then also to add on to the state mandate with the wearing the mask, you will get fined now if somebody like I guess you say dry snitches on you for lack of better words. Like it's up to $250 fine for every offense.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
That's super good. So, beyond depressing news with Corona, we'll talk a little bit about
I'm depressed from that loss just
yeah.
now.
I know, right? Just
Hey, I gotta
talking
hold that.
like nothing was going on. It's like, yeah, I'm
Oh,
just
I'm
gonna
paying attention. I
I'm
mean, I can multitask. Don't get it twisted.
just gonna go ahead and slip the W in
Yeah,
there.
slip that nub in there right quick.
So yeah, so one of the things that we do typically is stream. We all stream different capacities, either on Twitch, on YouTube. I know me and Jamie has done when we were doing the Saturday night streams. First, we started on Facebook, and then we went to YouTube, and having a good time, especially with being on lockdown. You have more time to kind of experiment, and so just kind of branching out with our content. And one of the things I thought would be cool to talk about was how people kind of get into that. Now, in our case, or I'll say my case, right? Um, I had wanted to stream, but I was doing the writing side of things. So, like reviewing and doing interviews and stuff like that. And so I didn't really have a lot of time for it. But I always wanted to kind of do it because I like, being a gamer, you kind of like sharing the moments or whatever. Like if it's not my wife watching me play or playing with me, I'm showing my kids, right? And so being able to stream, I was like, ooh, I can show this cool thing happen when I'm playing God of War or whatever. And then Corona hits, and then it's like this is an opportunity to kind of branch out a little bit and maybe extend U of G's reach. We've always had a YouTube channel, but we used it mainly for interviews that we've done and for like game trailers. And so I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not stream? And so we kind of jumped in head first. We have a new podcast going on. We have this show, and we have Saturday Night Stream, and a bunch of UFG plays and stuff like that. And so I've been having a good time with it. You know, I can't really speak on the views so much because we're not being that this is something new that we're doing. We don't have a ton of views yet, but in terms of just learning and having fun, I've been enjoying the ride. And so I kind of want to talk to you guys about streaming and the ups and downs and kind of where you started from. And since we have a special guest, I want to start with you, V, and kind of talk about your journey. Like, how did you get into streaming and whatnot?
Sure. So I would say around 2013 or so. I was experimenting a little bit with Twitch, and it was mostly due to the idea that I was playing, well, League of Legends. And
Nice.
as you can imagine, playing League on Twitch is like it's a bread and butter. Like you think of Twitch, you think of League of Legends, I suppose. So I did that for a little bit. But as you know, there's quite a lot of people who had the exact same thought. And if you don't happen to have a high skill level or like a higher entertainment value, then you're not going to be any different than any other person. So I ended up taking a break, came back when Final Fantasy 14 came out. Oh, I got gifted by Jamie. How about that?
Nice.
Yeah, I'm handing out wins.
So I come from like an MMO background. Not that I was like the professionals out there, but I mean I do gamer sessions of 17-hour long MMO playing. So I figured, yeah, I could do 14 on Twitch, and it was okay for a bit. That was like when 14 was first launched. No one really had their footing on it, and it was pretty enjoyable from that regard. But I ended up falling off because work caught up with me. So then fast forward to, I guess, 2018, I got back in with a new game that I'm playing now called Dead Cells. And it seemed to really like mesh with what I was going for, personality and gameplay wise. And that's kind of where I've been ever since.
Nice.
Nice.
So, Dead Cells is kind of your bag too, Jamie.
Yeah, I ended up I went so hard on that game. I think I put 500-600 hours in like late last year
Oh,
till
yeah.
now, and
gosh.
yeah, I was going hard. I even bought it on like every console. And then as I was looking through, I was trying to find some of the stuff, some of the unlocks, and that's when I ran into V's YouTube videos. And I was just watching them. I was like, hey, does this guy have a stream? And then I ended up jumping in there. And then it's just been watching and not as much streaming anymore. It kind of fell off, but I do plan to start up again. So, yeah.
Cool to hear that.
Yeah, I need you to start up. We were talking about that off air, and Jamie has a really good, he's good at like being very conversational. We went to, I'll tell a quick story real quick. I went to New York. Jamie lives in New York. I went to New York. I was writing an article for Upload VR, and I was interviewing some people at AMC. Because they had these new VR games that were coming out. One was based on the I think at the time the new Mummy movie was coming out,
Yeah.
and a couple others like older VR games were coming out. And so we went up there, and there was one interview we did with I think the COO I think of AMC, and I had all these questions that I was gonna ask, and I wasn't we. They told us that we could do the interview, but they didn't tell us how long it was. So I have this list of questions I'm gonna go through. I have my recorder ready, and all of a sudden, his assistant goes, "Hey, you have like 1 minute left," and I'm like, "Wait, 1 minute? I didn't even scratch the surface." And then Jamie just bust out, "So like, yeah, so what about this?" And he just started asking questions, and that gave me enough time to like kind of formulate what I wanted to say, and it was really good. Like he had really great questions, and it was like I think he actually bought us extra time because he was so conversational.
Yeah, he
And
actually said they could get a few more minutes. I remember that.
yeah, exactly. And so, um,
Oof.
and I was
Ooh.
like, oh gosh,
Oof.
that was disrespectful. And so I was like, yo, that was really good. And so I was like, you could take that into your streams, and you don't have to be the wildly successful dude or the amazingly like kooky, or just talk, just be you.
Yeah.
And I think it would go pretty far. So I'm trying to get him back into streaming, because I think he would do a good job. Anywho, that was an aside. So with streaming Dead Cells, I assume you had some success there, and was this just on Twitch or was this on YouTube as well?
So It started on Twitch, but I went in maybe like a month or two after that thinking, okay, I gotta like come up with a formula here. I can't just do the live stream and leave it at that, especially on something that's really niche like Dead Cells. And the category itself, if anyone's ever been to Twitch TV, you're sorted by the actual. I'm gonna lose for this. I already know. Please. Oh, as I was saying, if anyone's been to twitch.tv, it's all sorted by view count. So
Right.
for someone to look for Dead Cells, which is a niche game already, they either have to know the game ahead of time or scroll. And like Twitch is terrible with discoverability. So I had to find a way to break into YouTube at the same time as doing the live stream. So they've kind of gone hand in hand. Even though the Twitch came first, I don't think the Twitch could thrive without the YouTube audience coming in.
Yeah, because on YouTube, because you have the people that are playing a game, and because it's a niche game, you can't really go on Twitch and find it. I mean, on YouTube, you can find everything. So it's kind of like the way I found your channel. I was, what was I looking for? I forgot, because I had played it a little bit before a couple of years ago, and then I went back and I forgot how to unlock the spider rune. I think that's what it was, and I started looking at that, and then I ran into your videos just because you go down the YouTube rabbit hole and you're like keep clicking and clicking and clicking.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Not again. Yeah, YouTube is easier to be discovered there than on Twitch because Twitch is overwhelming at times. Even if you have a game like a niche game that you want to just watch, there's so many people streaming that you can kind of get lost in regardless of the game that you're playing. Whereas YouTube, especially if it's a highlight or if let's say you're watching like Jamie in your case you were looking for Dead Cells stuff, and so what'll happen is it'll recommend you other people that do the same thing, and so you might branch off and find someone and be like, oh, this guy looks cool, let's see what he's doing. You know what I mean? And that they don't really do that as much with Twitch, at least that what I've seen. They'll recommend like you like this particular game but not this particular streamer, and it's kind of the opposite on YouTube. So definitely easier to kind of like get your name out there, but then in terms of streaming itself, it's much better to stream on Twitch. So it's like, yeah, you kind of have to go hand in hand, and that's something that I've been mulling over a little bit, just because.
Oh my!
That
Wait,
backfired.
did you start
Jesus.
this chain?
He started it. Yeah.
Ah.
That's what I get. You start something,
That is.
you better be able to finish it.
See, he's gonna hit me with 4. No, sir. Anyways, so yeah, so that's interesting. So, were you playing games like Dead Cell before Dead Cells, or was that like the first roguelite you played?
So, in all honesty, the first one that I picked up that's pretty synonymous with that genre was Binding of Isaac. I bought that with the Switch as like my first game on Switch, and it was okay, but it didn't really scream to me as a fantastic game. So I don't know how I feel as though it had to have been watching another stream, which I'm sure you all have all been there, where I didn't even know I wanted this game until I saw someone play it.
Right.
That's when I decided that looks decent. I'll pick it up and actually try to stream it.
Oh God, look at that! I can't even see every card in my hand.
Jamie, just keep giving the W's out. Like, give me one. Can I get one? Good grief.
I think I'm probably to blame for that one right there. Because I knew he had like at least +2s or something, and I was like, I kind of really don't want him to play.
Oh, okay, V disconnected. All right, so
Yeah, just go ahead
Oh,
and
my
invite us
bad.
back. No, this is totally not your fault. That's not your fault. That's Ubisoft needs to get their stuff together because yeah, we've been dropping. I don't think we actually no, the first one we didn't, no one dropped, but we couldn't get the game to start, so that one
Yeah.
we could toss that one out too. Like, but yeah, Jamie's gonna invite everybody back. But
Yeah, everybody got their invite.
up there we go. Let me go ahead and do the layout. All right, so the Binding of Isaac was the first one, the first game. Were you looking to stream that or just that was just the first roguelite?
First roguelite. So I just picked it up at Walmart, played it for maybe like 4 hours or so. So I really didn't even get that into it. And then I just honestly just chanced upon Dead Cells. I really didn't put that genre into its own box. I didn't think there was a whole slew of games that are like this. These like permadeath. I knew about Soulsborne games and stuff like that, but
Right.
I never thought of these standalone runs where you kind of just go and hopefully win, and if you don't, then you kind of like progress a little bit, but you have to start over. So Dead Cells was the first. It felt good to play, and I could speak to it as I'm doing it, and that's really what I needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's dope. That's dope. So is this now? Because granted, and I've seen a lot of your videos right now. This seems to be the main game that you've been streaming. Is this something
Correct.
that you plan on doing in the future with Dead Cells or games like Dead Cells, or is it something where eventually you might branch off? I know that might be hard to answer though.
No, it's okay. There's no secret. Well, there's a lab going on, but it's not a secret lab. So I have been trying to experiment a little bit, and this month, well, I guess June, last month, I've been trying to pull out other games in the genre, as well as things that people who played stuff like Dead Cells have been recommending. So, big example is Dark Souls. I get recommended that all the time, even though I make fun of the game constantly. But we've kind of started to try to incorporate that. And of course, because it's not the main game, it's not gonna pop off quite like my main stuff would. But that's okay, because I know for a fact that there's a couple people who will appreciate the post, and that's what I'm really there for. If other people join in, then great.
Nice. So this is something that's more so for your established audience versus like newer people.
That's right. And your hope is that the established audience will help carry it to the new people. So like if people like the content already and see it's you, they'll watch it and then hopefully watch it for long enough that YouTube thinks it's decent enough for newcomers.
Got you. Well, I mean that kind of work. I mean not in a roundabout way, because Jamie told me about you after the fact. So it was like, it's like yeah, he saw something and then he was like, Kenny, you gotta check this guy out. So yeah, that totally works. So with that being said, I know Jamie, you've been streaming just about everything you get for the most part. Um, was there a point? I got the W. Was there a point when where you wanted to play or just stream a particular game, like just like kind of like Dead Cells? Because I know you streamed that a lot. Was there been a time where you're like, you know what, I just want to stream this, or more so than anything else?
Was that to me or him? Sorry.
Oh, to you, to you, to you, to you.
No, like because I was so into Dead Cells, I wanted to stream it, but I guess the motivation kind of fell off when you're streaming to 0 people for 4 hours.
I feel
I
you.
hear you
So-
there.
Yeah. So it's like every time I wanna stream something, it's like my brain just like tells me no. When something new comes out, I always stream it. Like Resident Evil, I streamed. I haven't gotten to The Last of Us, but I'm definitely streaming that sometime soon. Actually, probably starting like Tuesday or something. I just haven't found anything. What I'm probably gonna go extra hard on, and probably just gonna completely lose my social life to is probably going to be Marvel. I don't care what anybody says about the game. I will want to play Marvel Avengers. Everybody can say his ass. I don't care. I'm playing it. I'm buying it for like $100. I'm buying it on multiple consoles. I'm playing the hell out of the game, whether it's good or not. So I'm gonna stream that.
You're such a whale right
Did you
now,
play?
bro.
Did you play Ultimate Alliance 3?
We don't talk about that game here.
Yeah.
So we were at PAX East, and they have this I guess like game renting area. Like you can go up, ask for a game, take it to one of their stations, and then play it. And the one that was up there that I absolutely knew I wanted to play was Ultimate Alliance 3 on the Switch. And I convinced my wife, if we play anything, it has to be that. We pulled it out, popped it in. She barely lasted 10 minutes on the game, just like trashing it the entire time. Which is, I was laughing the entire time. It was great. But I can only imagine, like, if someone bought the game for $60 or whatever it is, and had that experience. That's ooh.
Yeah, we had that experience. And it was one of those things where we tried to like it. Like we were like, you know what? If you squint really hard, like it's almost like the second one. If you kind of squint, right? And it wasn't at all. And I was so disappointed. And yeah, we don't talk about that game. So Channing, Channing, what are some games that you like to stream? Because you've been doing, I noticed you've been doing a lot of the first person stuff. Like what type of games do you
Yeah,
stream?
for the most part, kind of like what my stream setup is going to kind of be. It'll probably be first person shooters, Dead by Daylight, and then maybe like a fighter here and there, and then probably end with like a variety game or something that you like. I'm playing Plague of Innocence or Plague's Tale Innocence. The game is actually really good, and I'm kind of mad I didn't play it when it first came out.
It's awesome.
But yeah, the game is really good. So I kind of like that, and like how Veedotme was talking about, or you guys were talking about with the YouTube, it's like growing your channel, even when you have 0 views. Like all it takes is like somebody just to come in once. So it's the stick-to-itiveness that makes it worthwhile at the end of the day, because you never know. Like you could be playing anything, and then somebody will see you play that one thing, and just because they like who you, that's how streaming works. The people don't watch you because of what game you play. They watch you because of what you bring to the table, like your personality, your interests, like things like that. And if you kind of don't really have that, maybe streaming is not necessarily for you, so to speak. Maybe you could do like a podcast or something like that, because you have to bring some type of, I guess, like personality to it. Like whether it be you're super competitive, you're super knowledgeable about the game, or like what Doc was doing before he got banned. Like he was a character. Like he may not have been like the best gamer in the world, but he was a character. So he brought that to the table.
Don't be like Doc.
So it's fine that nobody knows what actually happened. So nobody knows. So regardless of anybody,
the stuff we do know is kind of horrible. So
yeah. But it's like one of those things where you just put it out there, and you just let the chips fall where they may, so to speak. Because like, believe it or not, like since I started like streaming more frequently, I've actually started to get like real followers. It's ridiculous. I'm pretty sure they're all fucking 13 years old, but it doesn't really matter. Because I set up, like I have the cam and everything set up now, so it's like
Nice.
obviously that's another thing. Like you can't skimp on it. Like even if you can't afford the best stuff, you have to make sure that you're willing to at least do the bare minimum. You know what I mean? Because your return will be worthwhile.
Please.
Rip.
Come on, man.
Rip.
oh my goodness, that was rough.
But yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing, especially when it comes to the streaming. Like any opportunity that I get, like I feel like I could stream, I stream. Whether it be like 2 quick rounds of DBD or a round of Warzone before I punch my monitor, stuff like that.
Well, speaking of to the personality, was what I found is interesting is that your personality, just being you, there's someone out there like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like it's all about them finding you or you finding them.
Mhm.
And because of like I don't I don't think I'm like super excitable or I'm not a
Yeah,
ninja.
but you're like knowledgeable as Nah, I don't even wouldn't even say that. All right. The only reason why I feel like Ninja blew up, he got onto Fortnite before Fortnite became what Fortnite is. So that in itself benefited him more. Because granted, back in the day, in case you guys didn't know, Ninja definitely used to be a professional like Halo player. Like that's kind of what he was really known for.
Right.
But he peeked his head around the corner and saw that this game was up and coming and knew that it was probably going to be big. And he was already on the train before it took off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, timing
Yeah.
huge.
Like the timing for that was so perfect for him. Like that's literally like the best situation anybody could have asked for real, for real. And that's not to discredit his ability to play the game. He is still one of like, the better players in the game, but he definitely got on board that train before it took off. That's why everybody is like, any new game that comes out that's like supposed to be like super competitive or a BR or anything for that matter, like if you're ahead of the curve in terms of like, I guess you could say, in how you present it and like how you bring it to the table, it can definitely work out in your favor. I just think competitive games have a little bit more weight when it comes to that because everybody's gonna watch like, oh, what is he doing? What am I not doing that I can? You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like a learning thing.
But I guess I was saying like at the same time, I think people like him also because his personality, they appeal. Like you know what I mean? Like it's a
He's a
competitive.
brand now.
Yeah, he's a brand, a competitive personality. They like that, right? Awesome. And so,
Really?
um, and what I was saying was like, and like you were saying, thanks, me being knowledgeable. But then also, I recognize that my ability, I'm just being chill, and people watching me for that has actually worked out really well. And we got another disconnect because Ubisoft. Um,
This game
uh,
needs to just be like transferred over to Steam. Jesus
like
Christ.
completely,
That ain't
like
never gonna happen.
I
Jesus.
just fix it. Just it's Uno, bro. It's
Or
not
let
even.
it come out on like freaking EA Access so we can just buy it on that. This is like Steam is like, EA and Steam are like communicating with each other finally.
Well, it's Ubisoft, so like Ubisoft needs to get it together. Um,
Yeah.
but basically what I was saying was I found a niche where like I was playing Crash Bandicoot and I was just talking about platformers, and the fact that I was knowledgeable of platformers, what just
You
happened?
just dropped. Yeah.
Okay, that was odd. Can you send
Yeah,
me another
you were
invite?
here.
Um,
Yeah.
and so the vibe is I'm just chilling and talking, and people are listening, and it works. You know what I mean? So it's like
It's
you
like an
don't.
interactive podcast.
Right. And so like I don't think you necessarily have to be a certain way or a certain type in order to, you know, get people to look out for you. You just kind of
Mhm.
have to just be yourself.
I
Because then
agree.
it's easier because if you're trying to be somebody else, eventually they're gonna peek through the blinds and see that just not you, and it's gonna fall
Yeah.
apart. Similar to Doc, he hid behind a character, but in doing so, he had to go. I guess he felt like he had to go over and beyond, and he would do silly things like when he was in the bathroom at E3. It's like
Oh boy.
Bro,
that's not
that was like, I get that was kind of ridiculous in itself. But
super
I
bad.
won't say that I've been watching Doc for like a long time, but I did go back and watch some of his older videos. Like this has been something like that character or persona he took on has been something that he was been doing for like a long time.
Yeah.
So, and there are plenty of, like, as you say, Twitch streamers that either will hide behind like whether a virtual dog, they'll have on like I guess say like a Daft Punk helmet with the robot voice. So it's like, I guess maybe how I explained it didn't really come out that well, but I'm just saying like it's another thing that you could do to differentiate yourself in a plethora of people that are essentially doing the same thing. Like, what is going to make you stand out? You know what I
Right.
mean? And if you're good with like, hey, what if you're good with like doing impressions? You could be like, I guess you say a Jim Carrey or a Jay Farrow or whatever, but you play games. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like whatever you can add on to put yourself out there, you should. I feel like as a streamer or somebody that's going to be taking streaming somewhat seriously, you need to like think about, because what happens if you do make it? Like, these are going to be questions that you're going to have to answer. You know what I mean? Like, are you trying to be brandable, or are you just trying to be like that guy that just has like 35,000 people watching him at any given time, like Tifu? Like, that's the only reason why I really watch that kid, is because he's not willing to like sell out to make money. Like, and that's what I feel like a lot of his fan base like appreciates, the fact that he's not in it for the money. Like, it's great that he's making a lot of money now, but at the same time, it's like he doesn't care about that. So,
Yeah,
and then you'll
going
have
back
like
to
somebody.
the,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, going back to people who may not necessarily be, high skill or um, hilarious. One of the great things that I like to go to is GTA RP.
Oh God, yeah, the role play.
And yeah,
Jesus,
you can't,
I'll
you
watch
can't
streams
click
of that.
all of them. That's some 18 plus stuff. But
Yeah.
there's some stuff in there that you're like, wow, someone
Dude,
really thought this out.
Summit
And it's
1G,
kinda
I'll
great.
watch him play it. It's amazing, dude. It's so funny to see like some of the situations and stuff that they get into on that roleplay server. Because you have to be invited to that. Like, you have to go through a process to get into that. It's not like you download a mod, you go to a Discord, and you get in. Like, you have to go through an application process to even get on the server. So it's a huge deal. It's a
That's
huge
deep.
deal. Yeah. Like, to be,
That game
I
feels
heard to be a police officer, you actually have to go through like 3 months of like in-game training before they even let you like start riding around by yourself. It's crazy. That's just to be a cop. So imagine
Yes.
if you're just like obviously if you're like a drug dealer or like a prostitute or whatever, it's probably a little bit more straightforward. You know what I mean? You get like you get like an hour training. Like, all right, go ahead, make me some money.
Hold up, there. I don't know why I didn't even think RP prostitutes. Or GTA?
Like it's
Yeah.
real, dude. It's so real. It's crazy.
That's
Oh
too
my
much.
god, what was
People
I? What was
are-
I ignoring?
It's so
insane in
real.
that game.
Like, I'm so glad he brought that up because I wasn't even thinking about that till he said that. But that GTA RP server is no joke.
That's a bit much for me. That's,
Yeah, it's no joke.
So,
Oh my god.
well, we did we talked a little bit about streaming, and I think we got a lot of good information out there, especially for people who are looking to stream or looking to get into that. That's something we can also touch on at another time. But one of the things I wanted to talk about in the aspect of gaming was the idea of price. We talked about a little bit, kinda, in a previous episode where, in terms of video games and their length and how like that's a issue. But that also has to do with the game's price. For the people who don't know, there was an announcement. 2K made an announcement that NBA 2K21 is going to be $70 on next gen consoles and $60 on the current gen. And people were kind of like upset about that. Some for valid reasons, some for not so valid. And my stance was like, we kind of knew this was going to happen.
Eventually.
Because the price of gaming in general, I mean, from the skyrocketing development costs to the fact that games used to cost upwards of $75, this is not a new thing. But a lot of, or at least for me personally, what the valid argument was whether or not we were going to still see loot boxes, microtransactions, that sort of thing. If the price is going up, right? I think it's going to happen. I guarantee you,
I agree.
NBA 2K21 is still gonna have V-Bucks.
agree.
Trash, right?
It's definitely gonna
They
have
will.
it.
You know what I'm saying? So my question to all of you guys is, how do you feel about the price point going up for next? Because there's the potential that this is gonna be all games, right? Not just NBA 2K.
Okay.
And so,
Yeah, if it's just 2K, there will be some backlash.
right,
if
it's not. It's
just
not. I guarantee it's not. They're not gonna. No. So, what do you guys think? Is that gonna be? Is that something that you're interested, or that you're okay with, or do you have beef with that?
Oh, go ahead, Blaze. Go ahead first.
Okay, so I'm gonna start this one off. Yeah, I'm pretty okay with the price because regardless, the price has to go up. I mean, basically, with a lot of the developers in AAA games, it feels like they're damn near slaves. Like, yes, they do make a decent wage, but how many hours they have to put in with crunch and everything, like, if they're not working those same hours, they have to get that money somewhere. And plus, the games are just more expensive. Games now, I wouldn't be surprised if like on AAA games of like $100 million isn't like the average at some point soon. So
Well-
I mean, they have to recoup that.
Well, let me just put this a little bit in there before we go on. The cost isn't necessarily going to go to the developer. Activision made a ridiculous amount of money off of Call of Duty, and that was just on the game sale. And then they made another ridiculous sum of money off of the microtransactions and stuff like that, of the DLC and everything. Majority like the devs will get a bonus depending on how it sells and how it scores via Metacritic and stuff like that, but they don't actually see a lot of that money, unfortunately. So while the price going up is beneficial in some aspect, it's not something where it's going to be one to one where the developers are going to get more money. There's still going to be
Yeah.
crunch, and they're not going to be paid enough. So I just want to throw that out there, but continue.
Yeah.
Okay, that's new to me since I don't know that much about that side of the industry. So, F those games going up. I mean, they're not seeing money from it. I mean, the whole thing is to get more money because you would think, they have to make a profit on the game. People get paid more, blah blah blah. But if that's not the case, yeah, there's no reason to raise that price.
That's kind of my take on it, and I'm not gonna go in depth because I do have a very, I guess, strong opinion about most things. But anyway, I'm pretty much gonna say the same thing. I feel like it needs to be $60 was good. With inflation and stuff like that, obviously the dollar in some way, shape, or form is going to be either worth more or less at any given moment, depending on how like the markets or whatever are going. And that's a totally different topic. But the price going up to kind of like, I would need to understand why why does it need to go up from $60 when we've had $60 from so long? And like how Kenny said, starting off, it's like back in the day, man, like I remember where games were like, and these are cartridges, these aren't like CDs, these aren't 4K HD, this isn't anything, these are like cartridges that were costing like, upwards into like $75+ for a cartridge. So I can't really get behind, I guess you say the industry trying to, I won't even try to say they're trying to do it sneakily, but upping the price to where $70 becomes the new 60. Because what's to say they're gonna stop there? 5 generations from now, they're gonna be like, look, game's about to be $100, $200 a game. Ain't nobody in their right mind gonna pay that much money. So
Nope.
I feel like the $70 is a test bed to see, like, okay, if we can kind of get 70 in here, it's like, I don't know, like when is enough, so to speak, because you are going to have those microtransactions, you are going to have that DLC, you are going to have the bun with no meat on it, and then the cheese and the lettuce and pickles and mustard and all that stuff is going to be extra. So
Yeah.
a game that would normally end up costing you $70 starting is going to end up costing you upwards into like almost $120. So in a way, you already kind of are paying $120 anyway. They've just fooled you into believing that you got the base price, you get the base game, but if you want the longevity of the game, gotta spend more money. So I'm not a huge fan of them upping the price, I guess you could say, without soapboxing too much.
I think someone in here is a Warframe player. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I have played it. I was thinking about playing it, but I've been teetering on that edge for a while.
I played it
All right,
early
so
on
those-
and I hated it.
So for those who don't know, Warframe's free to play MMO kinda. It's more like a dungeon runner, I guess. Almost think like Path of Exile or Diablo. Like you could kind of call that an MMO. Like you do have hubs where you might see real people, but Warframe has like matchmaking and all of this other stuff. But it's a free game, and their, I guess, business model is that there's stuff you can buy to get the latest suits, get the latest equipment, reduce the grind, stuff like that. And to be quite honest, I would like to see more of that. So let's take 2K for example. All right, 2K, it's not $70. We're gonna bring the price down as low as we can, but then there's all this other stuff that you can buy if you want to. Or
So
you
how
can
would
grind it out.
what would you, okay, because I was about to ask, like, well, what would you do for the people that decide to not ever really buy and they just kind of want to play, like they want to pay their base $60, and then from there, do they have the ability to earn everything that somebody that just quote unquote, let's use for lack of better words, pay to win, so to speak? And
So Warframe, there are some, because It's really weird. They almost have a vault where stuff becomes rotated in and out. I don't want to say it's like legacy players in 2K, like maybe rotate in Shaq or something for like a couple weeks, and then he goes back in the vault. So like people can pay for the stuff in the vault, or you can play them when they're available for free, or like grind your way to unlock it when it's
Oh,
available.
kind of what League does.
Yeah.
League of Legends does that.
So I mean, yeah, 70 is a chunk, but I would love to see someone be creative about it. Especially when there's games on Steam and whatnot you can pay $20 for and get like an incredible experience.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think
But
that
I feel like that also comes down to the publishers. Like, if you're talking about big publishers like an Activision, EA, like I feel like they're going to be the hardest ones to be able to convince to do that because they make so much money from the people that have that access income that they don't care about paying that extra, 30 bucks for a season pass or 30 bucks for a cosmetic or vice versa. So I feel like I won't say it's like a slippery slope. I feel like there can definitely be a conversation that can be had to kind of flesh that out. Because I do feel like I like the idea of battle passes. I think how Call of Duty currently has their battle pass right now is really good in the sense that you can every battle pass, every season that comes out, you have the potential to earn enough to buy next season's battle pass without it costing you anything. As well as though you have a store that you can say, hey, I really like this gun, or I really like this cosmetic, I can buy that. You know what I mean? It gives you a wide range of choices instead of just being like, well, if you want to get the season pass, we need 20 real bucks from you, and there's no other way you can do it. So I really like that business model in that sense.
I think that for me, I like having multiple business models and multiple ways of testing these things because with everything that you're saying, I kind of, and maybe because I'm a little bit more cynical about it, but I just see the bad stuff that happens, right? For instance, with the idea of loot boxes. Loot boxes I already thought was a bad idea, but then EA took it with Star Wars to the next level.
Yeah.
They just went
Jesus.
bananas with
They
it.
yeah.
And so that's what I see when I hear about like the battle passes and the stuff like that because the battle pass for me it turns into a job. Like it's hard to jump from let's say Fortnite to Warzone to whatever other battle royale game and just kind of test them out and see like you know what I like Apex Legends, I like this character, I want to buy this. But then like if you have a battle pass it's like oh no, I have to log in daily. I have to do this daily because if not, when the battle
I'm
pass is
wasting
up,
money.
I wasted money. And a lot of the what's going to happen, I think what's going to eventually happen is the bubble's going to pop because it's not sustainable. You can't have you have people who are dedicated to one particular game and that works for them, but all these other games, there's only so much money going around. And like you said,
Yeah.
some people just don't buy. And so what happens is you have the same people who are going around from each game buying a little here and there and it's like they're being stretched thin because like if you're playing Black Ops or Blackout and then Warzone comes out and it's like oh another battle pass for like
Yeah.
stuff that I'm not going to use after I'm done playing this game
Yeah,
and
because I mean, with especially in that sense, with like a game like a Call of Duty or something like that, it's every year, so it's like
exactly
you already know what you're getting yourself into when you go down that road. You know what I mean? So it's like I get your argument, like I hear what you're saying, but it's just I guess it's just one of those things where it's ultimately like this is kind of what we have now until like a conversation can be had to where it becomes more streamlined, but. I feel like how you said with EA's situation with that, how they did Star Wars, I'm sorry, Battlefront 2. Yeah, it was atrocious, but battle passes and loot boxes aren't essentially the same thing because you can have a free battle pass to where you can earn everything in that. And yeah, granted, it is a grind unless you're an incredibly skilled player, then you'll burn through that. Like if you're incredibly skilled, you're gonna fly through that anyway. But if you're just like an everyday average Joe, I can understand that. But that would just be that would essentially boil down to like, okay, what game do I really feel like playing? And I need to either make time to like you need to make the time to be able to either complete or place that battle pass. If you're just one of those people that just doesn't have that time, then it's like I don't really see like a whole entire industry trying to like think of a a way to get you to be able to, and I guess you say, get cosmetics and enjoy the game. Because at some point, the game has to be something you enjoy doing, to where it's a commitment to where you want everything, or it's
Well,
just a waste of time.
what I mean by that is it's not so much if there was one game doing this, that would be
Mhm.
different. But the conversation is about the pricing of video games, period. So
Yeah,
if we're talking about the pricing period, then we're not talking about a few games here and there. We're talking about games going forward. And
yeah.
I don't see that being a sustainable model going forward for games across the board. And a good example of this is with actually Ubisoft, since we're playing a Ubisoft game. They had the Division 2 come out, and then after that they had Tom Clancy. What was the game? Shoot. There was another
Rainbow
Tom,
Six
Siege.
Siege.
not Siege. It was another one that was similar to the Division. Um,
Oh, the one that's like Far Cry 5.
yeah, it's like you're still doing soldier stuff. You're still playing.
Wildlands?
I think it was Wildlands 2 or something like that.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know what you're
Ghost
talking
Recon.
about.
Ghost Recon Wild.
It was another Ghost Recon basically. And what they
Yeah,
found out was
I know what you're
happening
talking about.
Oh, the
outside.
game, the recent one, right?
Yeah, it basically came out the same year as the Division 2. What they found out was, outside of the fact that the game wasn't as good as the Division, was that it was so similar to the Division that people didn't have time. They were already invested in the Division. Mind you, these are $60 games. And when this game came out, it was just too much. And within, I want to say, a month or two, it dropped in price. And that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like,
You talking about Division dropped in price,
no,
or
no,
I
no,
think the
the
game we're
other
all
game.
talking about is Wildlands. It's Wildlands.
The that game dropped in price, not the Division 2. And
Okay.
what they found was like people were kind of burnt out on that type of game because the Division
Mm,
2 required such a
a grind, like a
yeah,
dedication.
it's such a dedication that I can't play another one in the same year that also has a battle pass, or not a battle pass, but has cosmetics and all this other stuff that I want to
Yeah,
buy.
yeah,
It's like I'm invested. So like Ubisoft lost money. Same thing with
yeah.
EA when they released Battlefront or Battlefield with Titanfall. Yeah, Titanfall 2. It's like oversaturating. And so,
Yeah.
but that's
Hey,
on a
and
type of game. Now if we look at for the model to work in terms of price point, you have to bring out multiple free to play games. Uh Ubisoft just announced a freaking battle royale game.
yeah, hype space.
You know what I'm saying?
It's on
Like,
Twitch right now.
it's not sustainable. Some of these are
Hyperscape.
gonna die. You know what I'm saying? Based on this model, I think going forward, and mind you, like I said, developers aren't getting this money, but for publishers to be willing to go out and try, I think they need different price points for different games. Like some of their games just gonna have
Mm,
to be $30. Like it's a smaller game, you want to get it out there to kind of fund something else coming out.
hmm
For instance, they showed off was it that battle royale game, or that, not the battle royale, but it's a destruction derby game or whatever. I don't see that being a $60 game. I don't.
Oh, for the PS5,
Right. I don't see that.
Yeah,
not
see, something
creative
like
destruction. I know
that
what you're talking about.
to me looks like it would be great for a free to play model. Like something that you don't even need a physical disc. It's
Yeah,
like
you just
play it off
download
the
it.
PlayStation Network,
Yeah, yeah,
download it, play it. If you want to spend some money, then great. If you don't, then there's gonna be Spider-Man or Horizon that you can play instead.
yeah. I
Right.
think that's a also, like, what you're talking about. I could definitely get behind that. I agree. There definitely need to be certain price points for said genre of games, instead of just flatlining everything. So I definitely agree with that wholeheartedly. And that's not to take anything from, obviously this will go more into Blaze's point, like developers that are like, the sleepless nights and all of that other stuff. But at the end of the day, like, you got to think about what you're paying for the price of admission at the end of the day from a consumer standpoint. So I get that it takes money to build games. I understand that, and I feel like most developers think that their games are definitely going to be worth, like, the $60. But thank God, like, Warzone doesn't cost anything, or Ubisoft's new BR that's going to be coming is not costing anything. Because if I'm being quite honest with you, I was like, making BR games, I don't feel like it's difficult. Making your BR game enjoyable and fun with long lasting replayability is hard.
Yeah.
And that
Sure.
costs money to do. So I understand when, like, they start throwing in well, here come the microtransactions or here come the loot boxes. Like, it's just anything to admit, but it's like, how else are they going to get the money to recoup that, to
Not
like keep that game going?
well, that part I disagree with. I don't think you have to be predatory to make money. Because you're signing up for this going forward. You want your game to be free to play. Okay, there are plenty of games that are free to play that don't have predatory models. For instance, there are free to play games that don't have loot boxes. You can just buy the things that you want, and they might have a time period, like you can only buy this at a certain point or a certain time to kind of make it so like certain things seem legendary or rare or whatever the case may be. But the
Fortnite
term
does
of
that.
like gambling and loot boxing, you don't have to do that. There's ways to make money without necessarily
Having
doing
to
that.
go down the gambling
Exactly.
route.
I don't think you have to be or shady or whatever the case may be to make
Mm-hmm.
money nowadays. People will, if your game is good, people will give you money. They are willing
That's
Yeah.
to
true.
do so.
That's true.
That's true.
That is very true.
One of the
That
I
is
mean,
things
I
true.
with
did that with I did that with Marvel Heroes.
shoot, freaking Apex Legends, when it came out, I liked the game so much, I was willing to buy stuff. I just wasn't willing to do the loot box stuff. I will pay
Mhm.
more to get the skin that I want. I don't want to gamble it though. I don't want to oops, I didn't
Have
get
to
what I
like,
want and then have to pay you more. Like, no, let me buy the thing I want. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, and I think it's the idea that it's all or nothing. Well, how will they make money? Well, you can say that about anything.
I
Like
mean, you're
if
right.
you go
You're
to a
true.
store and the cashier puts a gun in your face, like, give me your money. Well, how are they going to feed their family? Well, they can do that without doing that.
Without putting the gun in my face. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, that's an extreme take. But it's
Right.
like, hey, by the way, like, let me make sure, just in case you're missing anything.
I'm just saying, like, cause before I didn't want to paint the picture that because people need money, anything they do is okay.
Yeah.
That's 'cause
I mean, I got it. No, I got it.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, as far as like $60, $70, that sort of thing, I really just think like I think it just has to be on a case by case. Because I would be willing to for The Witcher 3, that was one of the things I brought up was like The Witcher 3 and Mario Odyssey, right? The Witcher 3 has way more content than Mario Odyssey. They're both 60
God,
bucks.
and they just added more stuff for The Witcher 3,
Now,
bro.
I'm not going to get into length because that's subjective in terms of like what your money is worth, like how much you were willing to pay for a 3 hour, 5 hour, 100 hour game, right? Um, but just looking at some of the games that are 60, like does a sports game need to be 60 bucks? Like it comes out
Hey
every
man,
year.
hey, you about to upset a lot of people that play Madden, man. They about to come after you. They gonna be like,
No, I'm
UFC,
just saying,
who
like
is this guy? Who is this guy talking about my Madden?
I'm just saying, do we need to pay 60 bucks for Madden every year?
No, I was saying with you. Look, this simply simplistic. And I say hell no. That shit need to be $15.
So
I mean,
just
and they
give
had it
people some
before.
credit. Just give people some credit who do think that the price is okay, because I do have, my brother-in-law is like that.
Yeah.
The idea is that, you're gonna go to a movie, you're gonna buy, let's say, 2 tickets plus popcorn, a drink, easily go $40 plus, depending
Yeah.
on like even if it's 3D, it might be even more expensive than that.
Yeah.
So the idea is, okay, I'm gonna get Madden, $70. But the amount of play I'm gonna get out of that compared to like the same from a movie is huge. I can get sushi for $60.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing,
Between
though.
the two of us. I mean, I know
Okay.
I'm splurging, but
Here's the thing, though. Are you watching the same movie but just with deleted scenes? Because that's what it feels like. It feels like
Well,
I paid 20 bucks or however I paid 30 bucks to go to the movie with my wife, get popcorn, all that good stuff. But then I go see the Avengers and they added like those few extra scenes that they did, same movie. And then I go back the next year and see the same movie. Like
some
that
people do that, to be honest.
that's
I've-
well true,
I've
but
done
they're thinking it's something new. And a lot of times,
It's really
especially the first years of a new console, it's really not.
not. Yeah. I mean, the only
I
thing you're
agree.
probably paying for is just like a graphic rehaul.
that.
Honestly.
The first 2 Maddens or 2Ks in every generation are a little rough. I'll say that. And
Bruh.
I buy a lot of 2K, so
2K has not fixed their servers yet, fam. Like I That was my joke on Twitter. I was like, okay, this extra $10 from everybody. Are you gonna fix it? You gonna fix the servers? They gonna work day one? No. All
No,
right.
not at
Yeah, you
all.
know what I
2K
mean?
just
Like,
get the didn't 2K just get the NFL contract back to where they can make games now too?
yes, I want to say they did. I want to say they
They
did.
did, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that
I feel like
hopefully
they did.
2K is a much different company than they were when they released the
I
2K game
heard
back in
I
the
heard
early
on the
2000s.
Dreamcast, like I heard 2K on the Dreamcast was like the one to get. Like it was a like
Oh yeah,
super rival to Madden. I heard it was really
yes,
good.
Really freaking
So
good.
it was crazy. It was crazy, and they were
so
also when they were out on the PS2, they were also $20 for new releases.
oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
2K was
Yeah, they were
doing that
$20.
when they first did they were doing 2K the NBA 2K games. They were cheaper than EA's basketball games. They were
By a
cheaper.
chunk,
They were
and they were
undercutting.
better.
They were better. They're still better.
Yeah, because NFL 2K was that game was crazy. They even had like first person mode and everything.
Yeah, so price is interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic.
Anywho,
But 2K isn't the same company. They'll slap you if you try to have them sell the game for $20.
well, I mean, a part of that is Take Two being the parent company, and when you have GTA 5 and Red Dead out there, you want every game to make that much money. Like,
Yeah.
and so that's where V-Bucks comes in, where, you know, it's also your grind as well as your cosmetic currency and all this other stuff, and it's like they are really,
VC.
really like ripping people off, or VSync, sorry, they're really ripping people off. But anywho,
Who in this channel bought Uno at full price?
Oh, I did. I'd had to, dude. I didn't have a choice, man. It was either that or I'm not participating in Uno night. So
So
I-
sad.
I ate the 20.
wait, you paid 20?
I forgot how much it was, however much it was. It was either 10 or 20.
I paid
If
10.
it was
remember.
20, you
It
got
was, all
robbed.
right, it was 10. All right, 10,
Yeah,
10, 10, 10, 10, 10.
Yeah,
I just all I did was hit accept payment and was like, all right, I got the game. I didn't look how much it cost, so I probably paid what everybody else paid. To be clear, I don't want people to think I'm just going in the stores like, hey, give me this. I want 8 of these. $250,000. I don't even care. It's like no, I'm like I just didn't pay it. It's Uno. Like I didn't expect it to be any more than like $20, and then even if then I'm like pushing it because it was probably like expansion card packs or something where I can change the back of the card to look like the rabbits from Rayman or some shit. So like,
Oh God, I was about to say like you paid how much?
no, I paid the same amount as everybody else. Jesus Christ!
Oh my gosh.
What am I
Yeah,
doing?
This is a game where, especially when it breaks, you don't want to pay out the wallet for this one. I had
Yeah.
to wait. It was on my wish list for so long. I passed the sale like twice, at least.
I feel you.
Because he's probably like, who am I really gonna play this with, man? And it's like, I can wait again.
No, that's the problem. I have people who we're all saying we're gonna get Uno, and it's like we see it. It's like, do we really want to pay this?
And you're like, no,
That's
I
like
don't.
McDonald's money right there.
Yeah,
Taco
dude, that's
Bell
a
money.
yeah.
You know what's gonna blow up more so is subscription services like Game Pass.
Oh
If they're gonna be
which
upping
I
the
am all
price,
for.
yeah, if they're upping the price, I can totally see that like super blowing
And a
up.
wider libraries in terms
Yeah.
of like giving you more accessibility in terms of like what it is they offer. Because like I saw recently, Xbox Game Pass just added in like Soul Calibur 6 and like a whole bunch of other games, and I'm like, oh, I checked the PC version, none of those games are on there.
Nope.
I'm like, what? Why aren't they on there?
It's different
Yeah,
licenses.
that's annoying.
Yeah, I know.
Because
yeah.
was it Shadow Warrior 2, you can get the single player one on Game Pass on PC, but it doesn't come with the multiplayer like it does on Xbox.
Exactly. It's
It-
retarded.
It's
I
it's
don't get
it's, it's something that they want to the developer wants to not the developer, the publisher wants to withhold because they can charge more. Similar to movies coming out on multiple platforms, like whether it be on your phone or on, some streaming services or whatever. It's a new license each time, and so, but if price is going to go up, and especially with Corona and how things are going, people want to have digital as opposed to physical.
Which we've been crying for a
And
long time.
exactly, and physical, they have digital consoles coming. Yeah, I can totally see it being a big seller. And
Yeah,
Sony needs to get their stuff together to compete because right now it sucks in comparison.
yeah.
But
PlayStation Now. Oof.
yeah, yeah.
That is rough. Yeah, I've heard. So how do you guys feel about real quick? Because since we were talking about streams, have you guys tried Stadia?
So I have
Not
a
at all.
friend who plays
I've tried it.
Stadia,
That's the only reason why I brought it
and
up.
we actually did an unboxing for Stadia,
Hmm.
and there's some good things and some bad things. It would
Hmm.
be too long to list. What I will say is that there's more bad than good.
Okay,
Like
fair enough. I feel the same way about it too.
the
Like I was
library,
kind of like,
the library isn't there.
laughable.
There's no reason why certain. I mean, there's probably reasons, but there's a lot of free to play games that are missing. Like,
Yeah,
and as far as it working, if you have a good connection, that's the biggest thing. Like, it actually works as
yeah.
advertised when but as far as the games, multiplayer, and a bunch of other things like that, there's some nagging points, and
Yeah.
it's one of the worst launches outside of that game that Amazon launched recently.
Oh, breakaway.
That I've never seen a game go back into beta, fam. I've never seen
Exactly.
that.
Like I every time I talk about that game, people are like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, was I in another fucking world? Where did I like slide through a slipstream or warp? What is it, sliders? What am I, Crystal Donald over here? It's like, am I the only person that knows about this game? But thank God, yeah, man, I was following that game for a while because I was like, oh, this game's really cool, like blah blah blah, and then boom, out of nowhere, it disappears, like disappears,
It went
and I'm
back to
like,
beta.
guys, y'all know Breakaway, right? They're like, what are you talking about?
No, Breakaway
Like what?
died completely. I'm talking about Crucible. Crucible came out not too long
Oh
ago.
yeah, okay,
It
yeah,
went
you're right. I do,
straight
yeah,
back to beta, and I've never seen that before. It was magical. Um,
yeah. Maybe it'll be a launch PS5 game. Who knows?
uh, so we're actually running up on an hour six, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up. Great conversation all the way around, guys. Had a great time. Um, Definitely follow us everywhere. You can follow the site at u_f_g on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at KennyUFG. You can follow Blaze at UFG Blaze everywhere. UFG Blaze has never changed his name. You can find him on Instagram, Twitter,
Yeah,
Twitch with that exact same name.
yeah,
Simply Simplistic, that's his screen on Twitch. Definitely check it
yeah.
out. Like he said, he's going to be doing some streaming. I'm going to stop by to make sure he does. So definitely follow that. Um, Follow V.Me on YouTube and Twitch. And you actually just followed me on Twitter. Is V. on Twitter, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna have all this information in the comments, or not the comments, the descriptions below. So, to make sure that you guys can follow and whatnot. And like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when more shows and content is gonna be coming up. Please leave a comment. Is there a topic you want us to discuss? Do you want us to change the background for Uno because you're tired of seeing this? Let us know. Whatever the case may be, we will look into that. I'm not saying we will do it because some of you are crazy, but what I will say is that there are some good ideas out there, and we're willing to listen. So yeah, let us know. And like I said, check out the website at unitedfrontgaming.com. Right now, some of us are on vacation, so there's not a ton of stuff going up on the site. But
Kenny, you coming back? I heard you coming back.
there are going to be new reviews. Well, yeah, yeah, definitely. There's going to be new reviews and stuff like that going up soon. So definitely check that out. Also, check out some stuff that I have going on and other websites. Not to shout them out for the most part, but I get around, so check that stuff out. Um, and yeah, want to thank V.Me special guest for hanging out with us. Um,
My pleasure.
we
A
had a
lot of
great
fun
time,
tonight.
a lot of fun. So there you have it, folks. Like I said, subscribe, notification bell, share, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Peace.